Hi, my name is Britta Eski, and this is Chandra Lamotte, and we want to talk to you about the archetype of Venus. Now, why do we talk about an archetype, and what is an archetype? So, an archetype is is depicting something that's humanly true, universally true, that works throughout times, that says something about humanity. And the archetype of Venus is about a woman's healthy relationship with her body, her sensuality, and her sexuality.
And so why even focus on this archetype, right? Well, because when we as women disregard our sensuality, our sexuality, and especially our bodies, this is when we have so much internal suffering just without even knowing. This is when we don't feel alive. This is when we feel really trapped and confined in our lives. This is when we don't feel fully expressed in our relationships. This is when no matter how much work we do, there's still a part of ourselves that doesn't feel good enough, that doesn't feel worthy enough, that doesn't feel like we're deserving of love. And that's really the Venus archetype is what helps women really connect to that part of themselves that knows that their body is good, that knows that their
Yeah.
body and their sensuality and their sexuality is sacred and healthy and delicious and wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Now just imagine that, like that you really, really would love yourself and would love your body and say yes to yourself. Um, for most women, that is not the case. If we're
No.
honest, we may superficially feel that way, and we may tell ourselves that, or have positive affirmations or practice positive thinking, but underneath it, there's other stuff. There's shame. There's wounding. There's something that keeps us from really feeling that way. And so we got to dive deep, which is
Mm.
something that we do at our work that's called core, particularly in a process that's called core woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'll just share from my own experience. When I first took Core Woman quite a bit ago, I was this young woman in her 20s who generally was like, yeah, my body's good. It's fine. Right. Like I had all that kind of superficial positive affirmation stuff about my body. But really, for me, what was under the surface was I actually did not really love my body. I didn't know how to honor my body and the temple that is my body. In fact, I essentially was constantly letting myself be objectified and used so that way I could know that I was worthy of love. I was constantly settling for love.
Mm.
I even, at one point for a year I had an eating disorder that I just ignored and shoved under the rug because that's what I needed to do to look good. And so what I really found at Core Woman was underneath when I dove deep, what was stopping me from really having the life that I wanted, that I loved, was this underlying feeling of not being worthy of love. And that my body, no matter just as it is not good enough. And I'll tell you, on the other side of that, of really diving into that, was one and most incredible partnership that I could have ever imagined
Mm.
with a sensuality and sexuality that is healthy, that makes me feel alive and good as a woman. And so much more opened up for me in my life when I finally took the time to honor my body and to see the goodness of my body.
Yeah, and that's possible for any woman, any age,
Yes.
so I'm what, 20 years older, or
Yes.
more than 20 years older, 25 years older than she is. And and I had my own story as a young woman, but then I had my own story when I went through menopause, and that's a whole other rite of passage to go through, and to honor oneself as a beautiful woman and be
Mm,
embodied as a woman past 50,
yes.
as a whole other story, and I can tell you it's possible. Like, it's possible to love your body in on any stage and of the journey, and to discover, every stage has its own pleasure, its own
Mm,
beauty, its own um yeah, its own aliveness. Yeah. And there's such a maturity that is there now, and such a, yeah, joy.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's possible at any time, no matter what has happened to you. And that's something else we want to say to you. Like, we see so many women with real sexual wounds,
Yeah.
and no matter what has happened to you, it's in you, it's who you are, it's natural, and you're naturally beautiful and good.
Yes.
So
Yeah. And again, and I just want to share as another woman that I have been sexually assaulted. And so to be able to see the goodness in my sensuality and my sexuality after that was also life changing for
Mm.
me. And the Venus archetype, she's the one to like dive into in yourself when life starts to also get stale. When you
Yeah,
start to like
when you're
go through the
bored.
same
Yeah.
patterns and you're bored, like she's the one to call upon that makes life juicy and good and joyful, like Brenda said.
Yeah, yeah. So, if this interests you, or if you want to know more about how you can embrace that in yourself, no matter where you're at,
Yes.
like it's like, please email us at info@coreexperience.com to have a discovery session with one of us, to talk to somebody about where you're at in your journey as a woman. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes, we'd love to hear how the Venus lives in you and how is she present in you right now. And again, please reach out. We'd love to talk to you about what could be possible for you if you connected with this archetype.
Yeah.
So,
Much
much love.
love. Mwah!